buzz of anticipation. We're waiting for the arrival of His Royal Highness, the Prince Edward. We think he's here, and there he is, waiting to receive a copy of the programme. His great support, a Cambridge graduate himself, and this is very much Cambridge Day, all the students involved, and it's a terrific effort. It's town and gown getting together in a magnificent way for this great appeal. Lovely weather. The gods are shining down, as well as those great historic characters. Isaac Newton's workplace is just over there in the corner. You're looking right at it in the middle, just to the left of the tower. In there, that's where the, wasn't exactly where the apple fell, but that's where he worked. Now, the race will be against the clock. The bell is all important. It will chime 24 times, the high notes and the low notes. And that will clang away while they're racing around the 341 meters of the Great Court. And they start on a start line in front of that dais. They'll go on those flagstones, and then they have to turn a right angle, avoiding the cobblestones. There's Steve CRAM having a little rehearsal for you, just warming up. And they've got to keep on the flagstones, avoiding the cobbles, because they are dangerous. And each side of this Great Court is about 85 meters. Around that tower, over the steps, they don't turn left there, they go on a little bit, and then they meet another right angle. That's the hard bit, and if there's races on between Steve and Seb, you can imagine the battle that's going to go on down there. And it's a pretty narrow path, the flagstones there, and the next right angle coming up. And quite a lot of excitement growing here in Trinity College, all the way down, straight. And there's the last right angle. They'll turn here, and hopefully there's a race on, and they're up to the start line again. There's Steve just coming up, and really there's a great deal of excitement on. You know, Great Ormond Street are hoping to raise, at the end of their appeal, something like £30 million. It really is a massive appeal, but it's captured the imagination of many. And look at this, Sebco has turned out in the strip that Ben Cross wore in the Chariots of Fire film. That's how he looked, and that's how he dressed. So Seb very much in the spirit of the occasion. I've got to tell you, though, talking to both athletes earlier, they're very apprehensive about whether they can beat the 46 seconds. They think that the horologists have been repairing the clock, and they've wound it up a bit tighter than it used to be. And the clocks chime a little quicker than they used to chime. So that's one of the things they're worried about. But as soon as it starts clanging at 0:00, they'll be racing, and you can count the 24 chimes. Now, look at the historic surroundings here. Trinity College, founded in 1546. It was an amalgamation of two colleges, the King's Hall and Michael House, both of which date from the 14th century. Now, the 14th century, that's older than most countries. There weren't any other colleges in Cambridge then except Peterhouse, but some parts of the King's Hall survived, and some of the great kings and queens, Edward III, Elizabeth I, and I suppose if you think that it's got 6 British and 2 Indian prime ministers have been educated here, numerous poets, Sir Isaac Newton, probably the most famous, but imagine this, 26 Nobel Prize winners, philosophers, classicists, historians, and mathematicians. And we've got the best view you could possibly have. Look at this, above that tower, on the crane there. And look at that, even the crane driver's gone out to have a look. He's not going to miss this. This is one of the great runs. A marvellous occasion. And in the film Chariots of Fire, it wasn't the Great Court here. Cambridge wouldn't allow it. They've allowed it for this tremendous appeal. And I didn't mention the reserve, did I? Fancy having Daley Thompson as your first reserve. And that's an interesting one. And he's been signing autographs here. He's here with his wife and daughter. And let's have just a listen to what the two athletes have to say about all of this.
What have you two let yourselves in for?
A very good question. Yeah, a bit of fun, apart from anything else. I think we're going to enjoy it. I mean, we've got a glorious day for it. That couldn't be better. hopefully we'll get through it without any serious injury.
Well, in fact, what you're doing is what every athlete shouldn't do. You're going to be sprinting on flagstones, and you've got 4 90-degree corners. It's going to be very difficult.
It's tough, yeah. I mean, if you look at the distance and the... we were just standing here a few minutes ago listening to the 11 chimes. I mean, that's bad enough, but it gives us about another 3 seconds on top of that. Very tough.
It's all right for drunken freshmen, but you're 2 Olympic athletes. You're putting your reputation on the line.
Of course, we never drink anyway.
Is it possible, do you think, Steve?
I would think it's going to be very, very difficult. It's apparently the clock is now chiming a little bit faster than it was a few years ago.
So we understand.
Which is not making it any easier, and it is a fair distance. It's close to 400 metres, and Seb and I, not being specialist 400-metre runners, are going to find it a little bit difficult, I would think.
Of course, it is a charity event, really. That's why we're all here. So there is a fun element, but also it is difficult if you step off these flagstones onto the pebbles.
We've both. I mean, there is a stretch of pebble and cobblestone over there. We've just been chatting that there's no point in stepping off the flagstones anyway. No. But I mean, today it's the icing on the cake. I mean, it's not a. We're not. I don't think Corinthian sport's going to die here today. Yeah.
Have you decided who takes the first bend?
We just tossed, and I actually we did it twice.
I noticed.
And I won twice.
Just 3.
So I've decided to take the Surrey side.
Terrific. Well, we're looking forward.
And His Royal Highness, Prince Edward, just ready for the formal start. The athletes all ready. Any moment now. Oh, they're taking this seriously. They were very nervous, I have to say. I wonder how many were present when Lord Burleigh made that great run. 1927. Mr. Michael Bevan's here, the Lord Lieutenant of Cambridgeshire. Sir Andrew Huxley is the Master of Trinity College. He's here with Lady Huxley. Tremendous turnout. The 3 greatest Olympians of the present time have turned out. Trinity College has turned out. Royalty's turned out. That's why we're hoping you're going to join in this appeal. Take your marks.
Gentlemen, you start at the first chime.
Oh, they wanted to go as soon as the clock made any sound at all. They're off. Seb into an early lead. Puts the brakes on. Gets around the corner. Lots of cheering. Nice and controlled. Steve happy to run in his wake at the moment. The race is on. Over the steps. Over the cobblestones. They've got to turn left now. That's the tough bit. On they go. And Steve's beginning to drive hard, but Seb's holding his lead. He's not going to let it go on this bend. Tremendous amount of cheering. They've turned again. Can you hear the chimes? They're still going. Bang, bong, on they go. Last right angle coming up. Heavens, it's close. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Oh, well, in the excitement, I'm looking to see if Norris and Werner's there to raise the thumb up. It was a tremendous race against the clock. Nobody's absolutely certain whether they did it. One thing is certain, it's been a marvellous day, and what a fine race. All looking for Norris now.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, the winner, Sebastian Newbold, Co, with a time of 45
Oh, yes!
seconds and 52 hundredths.
52 hundredths. It wasn't time like that in 1927. That's the new record. And Steve saying, what's my time? Tremendous, it really was. And whether Lord Burleigh's time
They
survives
crossed
or
the
not.
line before the clock ceased chiming.
Fine! Victory is theirs. What a great day. What a great day for this great university. Great day for Great Ormsby, and how nice to see our greatest ever athletes turning out on such an occasion and so marvellously supported by all the undergraduates and everybody that's behind this Great Ormond Street Wishing Well appeal. Don't forget, you're going to have the chance to take part in this. You can make your pledges.
Well, gentlemen, what was it like?
Oh,
Novel.
yes. Some wonderful cornering techniques there, I thought. Seb was very daintily footed around some of the corners, and I was trying to cut them.
You had to run to a pattern, really, didn't you? Because it's only a lane and a half wide, isn't it?
It's basically 4 separate sprints because it's stop, start, stop, start. And it's a tough technique.
Now, the instruction was to go on. The instruction was to go on the first chime, but in fact, you went on the very first sound of any sort which came from the bell.
You know, I think that was the instruction.
Yeah. The instruction was that we were allowed the introduction. Yes,
Is he trying to wind
up? No, nobody doubts that you did it. Can I just ask you, when you were going around, did you have a sense of history, a sense of occasion in this marvellous place, in this marvellous setting?
Yes, I mean, obviously it's a fantastic setting, first of all, to do it. Halfway around, I was only aware of his shadow closing on me.
Thanks so much indeed, Steve. Thank you very much indeed, Seb.
Well, there you are. The sun shone on a great occasion here at Trinity College. And that record, which most of us thought was a myth anyway, the great Lord Burleigh run around the Great Court, 46 seconds, was bettered by Sebastian Coe and probably matched by Steve CRAM. And they ran around on the, having never practiced it before, I must say that. They were full of apprehension, but it was a lovely, lovely turnout. And I think Trinity are to be congratulated. And they did bring a great sense of occasion. So all those that came to see it, it was a memorable run, and they'll remember that once again, another little niche, another little piece of history has been created at this great college. Let's have another look at this. They're off. They did. Lots of cheering. Nice and controlled. Steve happy to run in his wake at the moment. The race is on, over the steps. Over the cobblestones. They've got to turn left now. That's the tough bit. On they go. And Steve's beginning to drive hard, but Seb's holding his lead. He's not going to let it go on this bend. Tremendous amount of cheering. They've turned again. Can you hear the chimes? They're still going. Bang, bong, on they go. Last right angle coming up. Heavens, it's close. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Oh, well. Well, there's not much doubt that the Prince Edward enjoyed that. Did you see him cheering them on from the dais? That was terrific. And I think it really has been one of those great days where this college, which is almost a sacrosanct institution, where people come only to visit and sum up a little of the history. I think those who came today realized that the college has made a tremendous contribution to this great appeal. And I think we ought to pay just a little credit to the man whose idea it was. It was Nigel McCreary. And it was his idea. He got everybody to support it at the university. He got everybody to take it on, and this has come from.
When I did it, remember that, Sam?
Now, the telephone number for your pledges: 01831 1199. And this is an urgent appeal for Great Ormond Street, the great children's hospital, which has a reputation which spreads around the world. 01831 1199 for your pledges to be part of this great occasion. I think these two great athletes are going to remember this day for a long, long while to come. Well done, Nigel McCreary. What a great idea. How well it was brought to fruition. Well done, Trinity College, Cambridge. Well done, Sebastian. Well done, Steve. And thank you, everyone, for your support. You can't have a better appeal than this. The gods have been kind. The sun has shone. We very much hope you've enjoyed your visit to Cambridge. I think some of you will come back now that you've got a sense of the history. You can come and visit this college, of course. You can walk around this courtyard